I gotta be honest, these brown shirts need to take the goddamn masks off. Straight up, like, dude, this is bullshit. I hate the fact that these freaks can fucking mask up while they're doing this shit, okay? Like, Iceman kidnapped her husband and killed her baby when they were just doing their jobs. Exactly, dude. There's also this video of him in the hall after he is removed from the press conference.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and put them behind my back.
Is I would arrest every fifth person. And I would say you're going to be going to jail for like 5 years.
That's great. Good to know. Good old Asmongold, you know, defender of the the Constitution and America and everything like that, wants to say, "Hey, you're protesting? Jail, 5 years."
You go to jail for 5 years.
So, if you guys have been paying attention to the YouTube over the last couple of days, we have been uploading some stuff to the YouTube. Pretty much the reality of the country as it stands, America that is we have a mad king who has gone ahead and gone entirely nuts. And we've been covering these protests that started in LA, that started with workplace raids that were largely condemned by many people in California, and that rose to some people, you know, a handful, starting to go ahead and protest against ICE's actions, ICE being Immigration Customs Enforcement, a part of the United States federal government. This also led to Donald Trump and his cronies going in, calling in the National Guard, as well as deploying Marines to Los Angeles. And one thing that I do want to go ahead and show is just how these protesters have largely been treated throughout this. Because it is something that I said, hey, we need to put some things together so that way we can, really, knock out the dangers that are occurring to protesters, especially when escalatory actions are taken. Many of these are just going to be a lot of Reddit clips, because that's honestly been the easiest way for me to find anything, because I'm not on TikTok and I don't plan on it. So anyways, this one was posted to Los Angeles, with LAPD officer shoots lone unarmed woman trying to get home.
I want us to focus on this guy right there. Look at him. They're telling her to move, but that's a public sidewalk. They're telling her to move. Watch, if they shoot her.
This actually does bring up a good point. I actually didn't think about this. I'll probably end up cutting some of these out from the, the actual VOD of it. But what are you supposed to do if you can't walk to your apartment because they've encircled the area and blocked it off due to protesters? Are you just supposed to just sit out in the middle of the night when there's violence running on the streets and shit? You know what I mean? Oh. Seems okay, alright, never mind. That was a little aggressive. Okay. Alright. Just okay. I don't know. That's, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of just kind of pause champ there a little bit. Damn, dude. Not to mention, aren't you supposed to be shooting less lethals at the ground so that way they can bounce up and hit the people in the legs to begin with, right? But anyways, that's not the only one. I got 7 of these, right? I also have this. This is one of my bigger issues when it comes down to how people are treating this. Union Del Barrio on Instagram went ahead and posted this. With the quotations of, ICE agents have raided a Christian church in Downey. They shoved a pastor and pointed a rifle at them. Ya basta, alto a las deportaciones. Come to Downey now, with this as the video.
I do not have to listen to you. This is the property of the church. This is Downey Memorial Christian Church, and we are not okay with you being on our property. All right? We are not okay with you being on our property. All right? All your
this is the thing, again, this is the one thing that I just am bringing up all these clips for a reason. We'll get there. it feels crazy to me. I always thought like churches were just generally sanctuary. Like you couldn't go in there without like proper warrants and stuff like that to begin with. You know, I have no idea. But again, these are ICE agents and what they're doing, you know, throughout the country. We also have this, all right, what happens when they deployed federal agents and those federal agents proceeded to get into an accident. All right, this was something reported by ABC7. All right, ABC7. All right, and it's quite interesting to say the
Now
least.
out of Boyle Heights, where we're learning about a crash that was involving federal agents. Scott Reif, you're live overhead with all the details from Air 7.
Yeah, Colleen, according to the LAPD Hollenbeck Division, this incident here occurred about 11 o'clock right here, Whittier Boulevard in Calzona in Boyle Heights, involving a federal agent. Now, we believe there's video showing it's an ICE agent, and they fled the scene. According to initial reports, that's what we believe happened. Hollenbeck Division is even saying they're investigating this.
So, and as a reminder, as we've shown before in yesterday's coverage, these ICE agents are traveling in unmarked vehicles, which means that they don't have license plates, they don't have identification, so they're just doing hit and runs and fleeing somehow. Filipina, good afternoon.
Possibly as an assault with a deadly weapon. So there's still a lot to find out, a lot of details to confirm, but it appears from what we have is that possibly an ICE agent was involved in an accident here and they fled the scene. LAPD Hollenbeck Division are the ones who are investigating. Colleen, Mark?
Right? So, and this is like the tactics that we're seeing come out of ICE here. It's actually utterly insane that this is literally what is going on, okay? You know, we can go even further because, you know, yesterday I had this article that I pulled out of Newsweek, right? CNN reported detained by LA riot police live on air, all right? And this was gone ahead and put up by Newsweek saying a CNN journalist was detained by police in Los Angeles as he reported on the riots live on air, leading to confusion in the studio. Jason Carroll, a national correspondent for CNN, was led with his hands behind his back outside of perimeter officers had created and told he was not allowed to return to the area. Broadcast footage showed. Carroll later detailed what had happened. He said he was not placed under arrest and his hands were not tied. He was asked to give some details. All right, so it does look like he actually wasn't, like, you know, tied. It just they were grabbing his hands and holding him behind his back and everything like that. So that's, you know, a whole thing. The protest in Los Angeles against immigration. Oh wait, we're not gonna do the context. But anyways, they also posted this clip from ASIN. All right, ASIN Twitter poster that we have looked at before quite a few times. So this does appear to be when the police are arresting journalists.
Flyers and posters saying
CNN?
It's time to escalate.
Wait 1 second, John. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Jason, what's going on? I hear you. Am I seeing Jason Carroll being? What happened, Jason?
I am being detained. Laura.
Bro, we are in the worst dystopian world where they're reporting on the news and this guy's just like, Jason, are you okay? Laura, I am currently being detained. It does appear that these officers are leading me off into a unmarked vehicle. They have not yet touched my butthole, Laura. Thank you, Loki. Good afternoon, Loki.
I'm not being arrested, correct, officers?
Did you hear what he told you?
No.
We're letting you go, but you can't come back.
Okay.
Because then if you come back, then you go. We're good right here.
Okay.
Okay, please?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, officer.
Take care. You too.
Just, he's literally doing the thing. He's literally, I do not. Worst cyberpunk reality, man. This is terrible.
Okay, thank you.
What happened,
Jason? If you guys can still hear me, what happened was, yes.
I'm Chris with the New York Times. We got video of you guys.
Oh, you did?
If you need it later,
thank you.
call New York Times.
I appreciate that.
I can hear you still, Jason. What's happening?
Bro, actually crazy. This is actually crazy. But it's not even as crazy as the fact that a U.S. citizen was detained by ICE in Hawthorne. As quoted here by NBC4 News, a heavily pregnant U.S. citizen. I'm very worried that she's going to be you know, that's a all right. Let's just take a
to
look.
us from her hospital bed. NBC. It happened in Hawthorne, and now that woman is speaking to us from her hospital bed. NBC4's McCullum Medina live in Hawthorne now with more for us. Mac.
Well, Michael, that 23-year-old isn't due for another 8 days, but she's in the hospital right now after what she describes as sharp pains to her stomach. She says she started getting them after she was arrested right here in Hawthorne on Sunday by those federal agents. Despite the fact that, as you mentioned, she is a U.S. citizen, those agents, she said that she was trying to obstruct the arrest of her undocumented husband and co-worker.
They had us all surrounded.
Carrie Lopez talking to us from her hospital bed after agents released her.
I mean, the one good thing is knowing that like the Trump administration supports some abortions, right? That's like a good thing, kinda.
And sent her home, she says, following this arrest Sunday at Hawthorne and 120th, caught on video.
I had lost my balance because he was kind of like shoving me away from the door, and that's when I kind of just like leaned forward because I was kind of trying to protect the stomach.
Let her go. She's pregnant.
Video from neighbors.
Brother. What? What?
We obtained show them calling for her release. You can hear passerbys honking their horns in protest. Lopez says agents took her into custody, saying she was.
I gotta be honest, these brown shirts need to take the goddamn masks off. Straight up, like, dude, this is bullshit. I hate the fact that these freaks can fucking mask up while they're doing this shit, okay? Like, fuck this, dude.
Was trying to obstruct their operation. We reached out to DHS.
Ice Babe kidnapped her husband and killed her baby when they were just doing their jobs. Exactly, dude. Good fucking line, Mollusk.
For comment and have not heard back.
I'm gonna need you guys to leave. This is private property.
You can hear Lopez on this video she shared with us confronting agents as they pulled up to the building where they were working doing maintenance. The agents were in marked Border Patrol vehicles. She says her husband and co-worker, both undocumented, thought they were being followed by agents when they tried to pull into the building's private parking. Her and her cousin, both U.S. citizens, opened up the gate for her husband to enter. They thought agents needed a warrant to enter as well.
Do they not? Like, huh? What? They thought, I mean,
Excuse me, ma'am.
bro, why is this dude wearing a fucking Punisher badge? Bro, the Punisher had his children and wife kidnapped and murdered, and you're, bro,
Listen to me. You are interfering with my arrest.
Get out. Well, you
I'm
can
doing my
take
job.
me.
You
but
have
I'm
no
not-
say to say. No, have nothing
This
to
is
say.
private
You have-
property.
Okay, is it your property?
Yes.
Okay, can you show me your documentation? Is it your property? Is that your property? Can you please move away?
No, I'm not
Please move
moving
away.
away. I'm not moving away. I was blocking the doors because they were trying to forcefully.
it's just, Agriel, I get it, the Punisher is a murderer, but it's like, are we that far past, like, the joke? Holy shit.
Open them, but I told them they were on private property.
She says agents said it wasn't private property and arrested her, her husband, cousin, and co-worker.
Yeah.
Wasn't resisting or anything.
Has the Punisher ever performed an abortion? Like
You're gonna handcuff me, but I'm not. I can't fight back. I'm pregnant.
I didn't watch this before stream, so like, you know, wow. Okay, anyways. So I thought like the hard-hitting one was when Kristi Noem had a sitting California state congressman arrested. Okay, I thought it was gonna be that. Do you guys know who Kristi Noem is, right? Kristi Noem is a puppy killer. All right, she is a proud puppy killer. All right, she's very much for it. She kind of loves doing it, and she got so bloodlusted that she killed a goat. because she literally wrote this in her book, that she dragged a dog that did a puppy that like did slightly bad things into a gravel pit and murked the hell out of it. One punch. Good afternoon. Love you. All right. This is the person who runs the Department of Homeland Security, by the way, just so you know, just so you're aware. All right. And there was a lot of footage that actually came out of Senator Alex Padilla being removed from her press conference. All right. And that was going to be like the main thing.
We're staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country, and what they have tried to insert into the city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Hands up. Also, I want to talk.
Wait, what is happening? Is that it? Casey Lee, good afternoon, love you. Give me 1 second.
Say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
No, like, hey, be quiet for a moment or anything. Just, sir, okay.
Hands up. Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents.
I didn't even. Okay, maybe I need to watch more stuff before everything starts, all right? But yeah, I grabbed that from our Queeman, and then in our Destiny, there's also this video of him in the hall after he is removed from the press conference.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and put them behind my back.
All right, cool. One hand, lay flat, lay flat. Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here.
There is bro, what the like? Huh. So anyways, that happened today. That happened today because he decided to speak at her press conference. A press conference that Kristi Noem went ahead and did to normalize these, the actions that have gone ahead and been shown to be a pretty fucking weird. All right. Pretty fucking weird, especially when, something I actually managed to find today that I was hoping I could have shown you guys yesterday. Kind of weird considering that the last time we had the National Guard called in, all right, was the LA riots of 92. And I actually want one of the main key selling points of calling in the National Guard, right, was literally just structural damage, right? So I went ahead and found this image, all right, back from 2003 by Paul Watts. Each one of these points is a unique and damaged structure during the riots, all right? And this was on Sunday, okay? This is after the National Guard had already been called in and everything like that. Now, this time coming around, the riots had a little bit, a little bit of different types of damage. 4. It's not anywhere near as widespread. Okay, maybe there is like actually more things going on. Maybe there is more damage. But again, if we're looking at like the actual spread, this bay here, okay, I'm screwing this up. That's fine. I don't even care. If we look at this bay that is displayed right here, all right, we have these, what appears to be maybe like 10 city blocks or so versus the entirety of Los Angeles. All right. The entirety of Los Angeles, okay? Like, it's actually crazy that they're trying to treat this like this was some sort of riot back from 92. Now, I have to say, when it comes down to it, right, I think that the violence has been largely overstated. However, I do want to be clear about all of this with, I want to be clear with all this, man, I've been looking at it. All right. I'm really having a lot of trouble finding people that are, Democrats saying, hey, we condone the violence in any way, shape, or form. Okay? It's just not there. It does not exist. It's not like people are calling for full sedition or anything like that. I need to edit this part out. All right. It's not like that is even happening in the first place, right? Did I screw up my notes here this badly? Man, I put time on this. This sucks. All right. Newsom is on the case. Yeah, but it's not just Newsom. It's literally everybody just being like, yeah, don't get violent. Even in our server today, all right, fucking Nuxie was Fed posting. And it's like, bro, like, yeah, we don't need to do that when, like, DB has been out there every single day. All right, like, every single day in LA, it feels like. DB has been out there until, like, Monday, because he's like, yeah, man, I kind of got to get back to work and shit like that, right? That's just crazy, dude. Snitch? What do you mean? Post about it all the time.
When you guys refused to condemn the violence that you were seeing in LA, what do you say to Senator Fetterman?
I mean, I think we should absolutely condemn the violence of ripping apart families, of ICE breaking the law, of them going into elementary schools and churches and raiding workplaces. And I absolutely condemn ICE's consistently illegal activity and the fact that they are, and the fact that they're also rounding up U.S. citizens and also documented people who are here legally with no regard for the court system and judicial injunctions. And I think that if Senator Fetterman or anybody else is concerned with law and order, we should be looking at one of the most law-breaking agencies and administrations that we've seen in the United States.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is the actual truth. Like, who's actually causing the violence? All right, as I showed you guys before, it was literally them just, I'm sorry, they just, like, manhandled the shit out of that senator and that pregnant woman. I didn't realize that was even happening.
Also have a convicted felon in the White House as well, so that's my primary concern.
Do you think Democrats need to be stronger on fighting back against these protests and some of the damage we've been seeing?
I mean, we need to be very clear that the president is attempting to mobilize the National Guard.
Yeah, like, the reality is, and AOC is right, like, yeah, no one's asking these questions of the Trump administration in any meaningful way, shape, or form. Not only are they not asking these questions, if you do ask these questions, right? If you do ask these questions, guess what, man? There's a decent chance you're just going to end up losing your goddamn job. All right, like Terry Moran did when he made this post on Twitter about Stephen Miller, where he said, the thing about Stephen Miller is not that he's the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he's one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see it by looking at him because you see the hatred is his spiritual nourishment. He eats the hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only is a means to an end to his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. And what did he get? He got fired. He got fired. Okay? He literally got fired for going and speaking out against these freaks in the first place.
That the president of the United States is mobilizing the National Guard against a governor's will. We have seen that he is doing it and that they are invoking a chaotic situation for political gain. And the idea that we're going to turn around and try to make the center of attention a smattering of people is actually ludicrous. And if anyone wants to fall...
Yeah, exactly. These protests have been, by and large, peaceful. Yes, there are going to be some bad things that occasionally happen. There are going to be some bad things that occasionally happen. That's just the way she goes. All right, you're never going to squelch out every last bit of it. But, again, the actual violence that is being committed is not coming from these people. It is coming from the federal government and the federalization of the military for its use on American citizens.
All for that, I mean, have at it, but my central focus is the thing that is threatening the 1 in 15 mixed status families in the United States. Thank you.
Exactly. So, again, these are the truths. These reporters, by going ahead and asking these questions, all right, asking, hey, what about all these people? All right, can we go ahead and just tie them? All right, can we just tie them to all these other bad people? That's what they're doing. They're wreckers, okay? Now, we started talking a little bit about wreckers yesterday, because I think that we need to start talking about the concept of wreckers and how these protests get absolutely utilized to destroy any movement, all right, whatsoever. In fact, even today, all right, I had Intense Complex sitting in my server, all right, with Unclip Me going ahead and putting up this video, all right, that I downloaded from BitChute, okay? Acreal, that's very sweet and that's very cute. All right, I will respond to chat after the segment. Thank you. All right, but this was something that was put up, very specifically put up on social media. This is what we call a wrecker.
I just got offered $200 a day to go protest ICE in New York. The organization was called No Kings. They said June 14th we're going to be protesting, and these are the streets that you need to be on, and this is what you need to do. You need to cause chaotic disruptions, and they said that there's going to be pallets of like bricks and different things everywhere.
Now, mind you, why should I believe a man with a patchy beard? There is nothing to what he's saying. No evidentiary proof. Just some random shitter on TikTok with the name at Unclip Me. Okay? I'm going to be honest. I don't think he got offered the $200. Okay? And yes, we are going to be talking about the No Kings organization at the end of this segment. So do understand, we are going to get into what the methods are and what they're actually doing, rather than the disinformation that is floating through our infosphere right now.
That protesters could use. They really want to wreak havoc. It's kind of ridiculous. Me as an American, you know, although I need the money, I'm like, this is very, very
You are so virtuous, my friend. You are so virtuous. Surely all of these things happen. Not that you went ahead and made up a fake little story to just promote yourself as, how do we put it? Just made up a fake little story to try to go ahead and get a little bit of internet fame. You're lying to your fellow Americans. You are no better than a Duganite.
patriotic. If I was to go take this money and go protest, it's not very American. It's not what I stand for. It's obviously not even, you know, worth...
Me as an American living in New York thinks 200 means a lot in New York City economy. Exactly.
The time, but, you know, $200 a day is what...
$200, right?
What they're paying people to go protest. The corruption is up.
Did he call the FBI or the news? No, he went to TikTok. Because that's where he could go ahead and get his little bit of clout for his nefarious lies.
Here, because it goes way beyond these organizations. They want to destroy America, and, you know, people like me that need money are gonna go do it. I'm not gonna go do it, but people are gonna go do it. They're gonna go destroy, you know, the city and cause chaos. It's just crazy that, you know, they're even paying people to go do this. It just goes to show that everything we deal with is corruption, and these people at the top level, like, who's paying for this? There's got to be some billionaires paying for this so that, you know, they could try to get Trump out or something. But, you know, $200 a day to go cause chaos is like crazy. Not worth it, but also like really f***ed up.
Yeah, especially if it happened. You know, kind of like how Trump wrong one. Kind of like how Trump quite literally was paying people for his initial presidential bid to make it look like that was the case. To go ahead and manufacture the consent for his candidacy at its very infancy. All right, by Kevin Manahan several years ago. This is in June 12th, 2025. All right, Kevin Manahan saying, Donald Trump has spent his political career insisting without a shred of evidence that his opponents are paying people to attend rallies, march in protests, and vote. Which is, of course, rich coming from the guy who paid actors to attend the announcement of his presidential campaign in 2015, whose billionaire fundraiser, Elon Musk, was sued for allegedly violating election laws by paying voters during the recent presidential election. So it makes sense that a jokester would want to spoof the president who would want to spoof the president would use the same gimmick. Trump, allegedly fearful the attendance will be weak at his birthday party, military parade, on Saturday in Washington, D.C., is offering to pay seat fillers, according to a Craigslist ad, which people are pretty sure isn't legit. Mostly because, like, they're offering crypto, right? They're offering crypto. It's like a random, the photo on the ad is a May Day parade in the Red Square of China. Okay, freelancers are encouraged to wear gold. Like, it's just, all of it is kind of crazy that, like, people are accusing him of it now. But again, I'm not really that shocked because, again, these things are used to discredit anytime these things actually do happen. Trump has paid people to manufacture his political message, to make his relevancy higher. This is a normal thing in America because we live in an absolute hell world. An absolute hell world of our own design. Okay? And again, when I speak of wreckers, yes, I am speaking of a very certain subsect of conservative liberals like Destiny and the ilk that goes ahead and drips around his life. All right, this post from 13 hours ago by Give Me Proof Right Now. I am so fed up with the Palestinian crowd. Keir Starmer tweeted about the awful plane crash coming from India and the amount of people asking him what about his sympathy for Palestinians. It feels like every event that is happening in this world needs to involve Palestinians. I mean, okay, did he do a press conference and people have been wanting to ask the questions? And it has literally always been a part of the news democracy of the West that you get asked questions about who the hell knows what if you have a press conference and you accept questions. All right? Can't remember what Destiny said, but he was white. It was about the Palestinian flags being waved at the LA riots. There's a time and place to talk about Palestine. When is it okay for us to talk about Palestine? Can you tell us when we can talk about it? Can you just give us a hint? Like, is it tomorrow? Is it like next week? Is there ever a time? Will October 7th ever wash from us? Will we ever be able to talk about Palestine? Yeah, exactly. It's horrible what's happening to innocent people there, but not everything needs to be about them. Yeah, I'm sure that it was ever about them. And I also want to remind you, okay, we here in Resistan, thankfully, are not immune to these people. On a recent video that I uploaded, all right, our first day of uploading the stuff about the LA riots, where I put up a fantastic thumbnail, all right, probably like one of the better thumbnails I've put up in a long time, okay. All right, the way which was oh no, don't autoplay. I just want to see the thumbnail, my man. God damn it! All right, with this, LA protests don't go outside, you know, with an arrow pointing to Destiny, and goes outside with an arrow pointing to Hassan, and the title LA protests go outside already, right? We got this comment, Scatberg02. Don't go outside if you want to post on social media with either a Palestine flag or a Mexican flag. Do go outside and protest if you're against a totalitarian overtake of the government, idiot. To which I carefully and cautiously responded with, I see someone's eating tendies mom made on Saturday. Because again, if you oppose the Trump administration, is there a possibility you oppose them because of his statements about leveling Gaza and putting up a bunch of hotels, deporting all the people that have lived there for generations? Is there a possibility maybe they have a problem with Trump too? Do you think that maybe Hispanic people, specifically Mexicans even, may have a problem with Trump? But no, we should not show solidarity with these groups. It's bad optics. These people are wreckers. They are jokes. They are fakes, and they are phonies. These people, we have the same goals. Yeah, once we get past the first one, we can probably discuss the second part of this, if you want to go ahead and go further. But when it comes to the resistance of an authoritarian, fascist regime, it is absolute and simple for me to say, I think we can cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyways, all right, there are other people who are wreckers, all right? Like this dipshit who literally was incapable of cleaning his house, would use a rotting dead rat as an alarm clock due to the smell. He's the one that more people on Twitch are listening to for political coverage than anyone else. Let's take a look at good old Asmongold.
That van is really trying to get around him. And then you have two other retards getting right in the way. They can get away with it. They'll just get fined and go home. Yeah, in my opinion, like, what I would do, like, in this situation, like, if I had control of this situation, what I would do.
You're playing Valley Salt. You're not playing. You are playing into their misinformation. You're not going to convince conservatives. You're not going to convince conservatives. Why is it that we have to go ahead and kowtow to their every single will and whim when we literally brought on Cheney. We brought on every Republican that there possibly could. It didn't work. It doesn't work. Can we stop acting like appealing to conservatives is going to work? It doesn't.
I would arrest every fifth person. And I would say you're going to be going to jail for like 5 years.
That's great. Good to know. Good old Asmongold, defender of the the Constitution and America and everything like that, wants to say, "Hey, you're protesting? Jail, 5 years."
You go to jail for 5 years for this. Yeah, and then if that wasn't enough, then you arrest another fifth of them. And you do that until the rest of them leave because they don't want to ruin their life. That's expensive. No, you force them to work in prison. That way you can.
Oh, yeah. Send them to the fucking gulags, dude. Send them to the gulags. What a water-brained dipshit fuck.
You make the money back. What would happen if you just, stopped and then slowly kept going forward? Will the cops stop you if you rolled over the idiots? I mean, I don't care if somebody runs them over. I mean, it's like that's kind of like a bad policy to have, but I mean, I'm pretty sure if somebody did plow through all these people and ran them over, I'm pretty sure I know what the public sentiment would be.
Yeah, horror, absolute abject horror. Okay, when protests turn to blood, we have events, all right, that we think of in our history. Do you guys know the event that I'm thinking about right now? All right? Do you guys know the one I'm thinking about right now? It happened back in 1970 on May 4th. Okay, on May 4th, the Kent State shootings. All right, an image that will literally define an era of this nation, of a student laying dead on the ground because servicemen opened fire on citizens. This single event shifted the entire narrative on the Vietnam War, in coordination with the Tet Offensive and a bunch of other stuff too. But again, this stuff is burned into the American psyche. Yeah, Asman, I got an idea of how Americans are going to look at when they see dead bodies. And that's why we can't go ahead and see pictures from the inside of these elementary schools when the people go in there to shoot up and grind up these children.
And the public sentiment would be very positive. People would be fucking thrilled.
How much fuel do we have?
I think hurting people is bad. I think inconveniencing people is also bad.
Which one's worse? Which one's worse? Which one? Oh, you've been inconvenienced. Which is worse? Being inconvenienced or someone dying?
And I think that an incentive of getting hurt in order to prevent people from being inconvenienced is a good thing.
Is this guy still unbanned on Twitch? Is this guy actually still unbanned on Twitch? Bro, what?
And I have no problem with doing that. I don't have a single issue, so kill him then? Well, I mean, again, like, I wouldn't want that to happen, but if it did, I wouldn't really care.
Asman, I hope you go out there with whatever car you have. I hope you mow down a bunch of protesters, bud. I want you to live your dreams, and I want you to go into federal custody, because you would be literally committing premeditated murder at that point. You are a disgusting, filthy, repulsive, monster, mongrel, rat human.
Like, I mean, these are people that are, like, intentionally trying to obstruct traffic constantly. They're doing it. They're violently preventing people from traveling in public spaces.
They're just standing there. If standing somewhere is violence, then yeah, I guess.
And if you try to move past them, they'll hit your car. They'll fuck up your car. If there's enough of them there, they'll destroy your car. These people are violent, and this isn't a peaceful protest at all. This is...
Reservoir, isn't it wild how Dan Saltman went on a crusade against Hassan and his support of terroristic actions, but has said nothing about a man advocating for protesters to be massacred by our military? Well, no, that's not wild, Roxanne. It's wild that there is a man that is sitting on Twitch with 70,000 viewers on a given day advocating for his viewers to go out and mow down protesters. You know, actually wild.
People that are intentionally going to stop these cars and fuck with these cars and make sure that these people can't go where they need to go. This fucks up emergency services. It fucks up other policing services. It fucks up the fire department.
Yeah, I mean, well, if those policing services are, you know, doing illegal deportations, arresting pregnant women and shit like that, yeah, I'm going to say, I think I'm a little okay with that.
If you have these people that block a highway, there's on-ramps that end up getting blocked up because of all the people that are supposed to go through the highway.
Yeah, crazy. When has a big streamer ever advocated for the murder of protesters? You know, it's weird. You know, that's the thing. It's like, I'm having a little bit of trouble thinking about, like, who could have possibly said something like that. Someone who has gone ahead and, put together an image of somebody on the side of, like, freedom and everything. I wonder who else would have said something about mowing down
the rioting needs to fucking stop. And if that means, like, white redneck fucking militia dudes out there mowing down dipshit protesters that think that they could torch buildings at 10 p.m., then at this point they have my fucking blessing, because holy shit, this fucking shit needs to stop. It needed to stop a long time ago. Like, holy fuck. The rioting needs to fucking stop.
Yeah,
and if that means, like...
Yeah, it was the sex pest. It was the sex pest. The wreckers. Again, these people want to go ahead and create narratives. All right? That it is okay to do these things because it's making things so difficult for us to live our lives. Our Uber Eats order can't get to us, man. If I don't get my fucking McDonald's McFlurry unmelted, you're gonna die, baby. That's what they're telling you. It's absurd. But to go even further than that, right, understand that these people ultimately are caping for the same people that years ago, all right, have lied to us now. Because obviously they could have done. Donald Trump could have done something in 2020. All right?
Years ago at the Republican convention, I'm going to restore law and order in this country.
Except in Democrat-run cities. Look,
We have laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that, even in a Portland case. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
Which, again, absolute lies. But to go even further, even within this specific instance of the LA protests, someone that we focused on before, and this was something that I received a comment in private about, somebody who was unsure of my reporting on the topic, about this man on the right, Tom Homan, and his statements about arresting Governor Newsom of California. So I wanted to play this out because it does seem like MSNBC, went ahead and got on top of the case. So let's take a look.
Governor Newsom last night, and he and the president continue to exchange barbs on social media. I'm seeing this morning. What is his message in this moment? As we mentioned, he's also threatened to sue the government.
Yeah, he sure has, Anna, and we're watching for that lawsuit to be introduced into the court. We expect at any minute this morning. He says essentially the contention in the lawsuit is that under this Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the way that they activated, as David was describing, the National Guard to come to the streets of Los Angeles without the permission of the governor, they didn't do it in consultation with the governor, which is part of the way the law is supposed to work, according to what Gavin Newsom told me last night. And then you mentioned those barbs continue between the White House and Governor Newsom directly. Caroline Leavitt and Governor Newsom are going back and forth right now. Governor Newsom responded to a tweet from Caroline Leavitt by saying, Caroline, there were no unsolved problems until Donald Trump created them. Now the governor has to send in more law enforcement to clean up Trump's mess. Trump can end this now, rescind the order, and return the guard to the governor's command. Trump created this mess. We'll clean it up. And that's what Governor
Valley Salt, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to time you out from chat for this because this is the stupidest comment I've ever seen. To my point, if you replaced every Mexican flag with an upside down U.S. flag, you'd win a surprising amount of conservatives, is so brain dead. What do you mean? Have you ever seen any polling that suggests anything that you've said is right? That was the stupidest thing anyone has said in this chat in a while. I unfortunately have to say, you might want to sit here and watch and actually think about what we've been saying before you say something as stupid as that, because Valley Salt, I'm going to label you as a wrecker because that's what you're doing. You're wrecking. You are literally the people that I have been condemning. Like, I don't know how else to say this. How stupid are you? Jesus Christ. You're usually fucking normal.
Newsom has been saying all along.
I'm not even going to time you out. Honestly, that's cool. I'm glad that we got people among us, right? Medium stupid? No. I think honestly, you might want to check in with the government. I think they actually have services for people that are as mentally disabled as you are. You know?
Here is that the images that you're seeing on your screen right now are only such as they are because of the increased law enforcement presence from the national.
Oh yeah, Spec Day is right. Spec Day is right about that. Not anymore. Because again, you don't negotiate with fascists.
And he is looking for the National Guard to return to his control. Anna.
Is there any point in which he would say the National Guard actually is necessary and in fact we need more people to come help this out?
The governor hasn't said that yet, but Jim McDonnell, the police chief for the Los Angeles Police Department that is in charge of about 8,000 to 9,000 officers in the city of Los Angeles, has said just about as much last night in a press briefing that because the situation is now sort of starting to grow, and it is confined to that area.
Yeah, I'm just going to be real clear here. All right, Valley Salt, maybe I'm being a little mean. Maybe you need to look into history, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of the Anschluss, okay? The Anschluss was when Britain, France, and the other allies from World War I didn't do anything when Hitler annexed Austria. And we know what happened after that, right, guys? Right? Do we know what happened? Everybody, like, we're clear? We remember World War II? We remember that? Okay, cool, great, wow. Okay. Huh.
Area, mostly in downtown Los Angeles. He is considering whether or not the National Guard would be helpful to him in their efforts to do crowd control in the city of Los Angeles.
And Jacob, you also spoke with border czar Tom Homan, who's been on the ground there. He's now pushing back on an answer he says was taken out of context when he said anyone who obstructs the immigration enforcement efforts there would be arrested, including Governor Newsom, including LA Mayor Karen Bass. Listen to what he told Morning Joe.
We did a 20-minute interview, and he cuts out a little clip that makes me and takes my words out of context.
I also, when I watch this clip, I'm going to be honest, in good faith to Tom Homan, I feel like anybody would take this mush-mouthed redneck motherfucker out of context, because I can barely understand a single word that he's saying. This guy, all right, he is literally the reincarnation of fucking Prigozhin. All right. Like, this dude thought that he thinks he's going to be okay getting on the planes when he's no longer being supported by the Trump campaign. And we know how that ends, right?
Here's what we said. And he talked about, when I talked about these people that are these protests and rioting, when they cross the line, they got that. Well, here's why I said they have a right to protest. They have the First Amendment rights, but they can't cross that line. When he asked the questions that include Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom, I was clear, they haven't crossed the line. But they're not above the law either. If they commit a crime, they certainly will ask for prosecution. That's what was happening. I never threatened to arrest Governor Newsom, so I'm not biting off on that.
Jacob, do you want to set the record straight?
Yeah, sure thing. Tom Homan said we cut a clip and took his words out of context. We did anything but. In fact, we presented the clips in their entirety in all of our airings, including in our reporting on NBCnews.com. He said that it was dishonest reporting. Couldn't be further from the truth. It was completely honest. And I'll let our viewers watch both of those interviews, clips of them right now for themselves. Here you go.
Bro,
there have been threats.
Please, for the love of God, subtitle it. Just subtitle it. There is closed captioning, actually. We should probably use that. That's probably useful for this. Okay.
Previously, that if you stand in the way of your enforcement operations, you could be subject potentially to arrest. Are you saying that about Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom? Are they at risk of being arrested?
I'll say it about anybody. You cross that line. It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien. It's a felony to impede law enforcement from doing their job.
Do you think that the mayor of LA is doing that?
If she crossed that line, we'll ask the DOJ to prosecute. Do I think she's crossed the line? I don't think she's crossed the line yet.
He did not rule out literally arresting you, nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his words. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me.
So right there in both of the interviews you heard, Tom Homan said, I don't think she's crossed the line yet. And I said directly to Governor Newsom, he said you hadn't yet. So it's right there on the tape. I don't know what Tom Homan had seen, but we were very clear in giving the full context of the statement that he did not believe that Governor Newsom had crossed a line yet, nor did Mayor Bass, but he reserved the right to arrest them if they did, which is what Governor Newsom responded to.
Which, again, bro, if you're using the yet term, okay, if you're using the yet term, there is some premeditation that goes forward. So maybe in my reporting, I got a little bit carried away by going ahead and actually just reading the specifics of the connotation of what is being said here. That they are willing to arrest a sitting U.S. governor who is elected to do that, to do that job by a unelected appointee of a Mad King president. Okay? But the thing is, there are things that you need to do. And that is kind of where this whole thing is supposed to lead to. Is, again, under every single part of the world, of how this is all happening, all right, there are things that you can do, and there is successes. All right? In fact, back on June 10th, about 2 days ago, we actually saw that the protests in San Francisco that had occurred did actually shut down an ICE court. To begin with, San Francisco Gate is reporting unbelievable protest against ICE arrest shuts down San Francisco court. Multiple people were detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents in downtown San Francisco on Tuesday morning, merely 12 hours after thousands of protesters took to the streets in the mission to rally against the widespread raids taking place across California. The news, first reported by NBC Bay Area, unfolded around 9:30 a.m. outside of San Francisco Immigration Court at 100 Montgomery Street. The reporter captured footage of ICE agents wearing masks escorting a person into a parked car. About an hour later, 2 other people were reportedly taken into unmarked cars. One told NBC reporter that he was from Guatemala. How many people that were arrested on Tuesday morning is unclear. San Francisco Police Department was unable to confirm the arrest when reached by San Francisco Gate. Local Pulse Advocacy Group, however, confirmed 4 arrests in the afternoon. Going further into this, right? Eventually, these things led to people just shutting down the court system entirely. The sort of protests that are happening are having an effect. The stymieing of these actions in and of itself is good. Any bit of this is extremely important for us to engage in. Because if they have to put more effort, they have to put more manpower into their efforts to break the Constitution, to break the country, to break Western order itself. All right? That is probably a good thing. All right? That's probably a good thing. And now, fantastically, okay, I can go ahead and say that, yeah, there is this thing called the No Kings protest. All right. One of the people that went ahead and actually is supporting like this protest, there are billionaires behind it. In fact, the heiress of Walmart, Christy Walton, took out a full-page advertisement in the New York Times. Took out a full page saying, "No Kings, June 14th, mobilize. We are a people of principle and honor. We are our commitments to stand by our allies. We defend against aggression by dictators. We uphold and defend the Constitution. We care for veterans and children. We respect our neighbors and trading partners. We support a healthy national and international economy, community, and environment. And we are the world leader trusted to uphold the stability of the rule of law. We're the people of the United States of America. The honor, dignity, and integrity of our country are not for sale. Our government is of the people, by the people, and for the people." And what she is referring to, okay, is the No Kings protest, which could possibly be the largest mobilization of a protest since Trump took office, as reported again by Newsweek. No Kings protest against President Donald Trump and his administration is set to be the largest nationwide mobilization since Trump took office, according to organizers. There are 1,800 protests planned across the country for June 14th, with millions expected to attend. The protests have been organized to coincide with Trump's birthday and the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, which the administration plans to commemorate with a tank parade through Washington, D.C. Right? Again, I ask all of you out there where we've seen tank parades before, because I got a feeling maybe some of you have seen this one before too, right? Do you remember this? Yeah, it was Tiananmen Square when they went ahead and they ran through protesters with tanks and ground them into fucking meat on the side of the road. Yeah, something that did happen. So the question is for you, what should you know? I don't often try to make, too many grandiose sort of calls to action, because I think it's kind of cringe, right? I do think it's cringe, all right, to do that stuff online. Mostly because a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm advocating for a specific specific politician or something like that. That I'm like, oh, I like this guy. Maybe we should go with them. Now, I will say, I assure you, this shit is going to be lived the hell up, okay? It is going to be very liberal. There are going to be tons of people there that, are going to make you very, very annoyed with it, right? You do it offline? Yeah, I'm not going to be streaming when I go to these on Saturday. So, yes, correct. I do my things offline. And I would recommend you do too, because I don't really like the idea of clout chasing, just going to protests. Like, it's kind of funny when people do it. I think that's like a choice people can make for themselves, but do whatever you want to do. But there is this website, it's nokings.org, and it is about the protests themselves. In America, we don't do kings. They defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. And they have this little video.
Every day across this country, something powerful is happening. People are rising for each other, for democracy, and for our collective freedom. We have chosen not to live in fear or let division destroy this country. We believe in something bigger than ourselves and the promise of freedom and justice for all. But now, our rights and our freedoms are under attack. We can point fingers or we can take action. This spring, millions of us united for one of the largest peaceful protests in the history of the United States. Together, we told Trump and his billionaire administration to keep their greedy hands off our health care, our veterans' benefits, our public lands, our rights. Courage is contagious, and now we're taking to the streets again on Saturday, June 14th for No King's Day. While Trump wastes tens of millions of taxpayer dollars on a military parade for his birthday, acting like a wannabe king, people in every state have organized over 1,800 events in their communities to uphold democracy and protect our rights. People standing side by side for the future we all deserve. We don't do kings in the United States. We believe power belongs with the people. Join us on Saturday, June 14th. Go to nokings.org to find the protest near you.
And to be fair, for what it's worth, right, it's actually like kind of easy. Like, you literally just put in a zip code. Okay? So, like, I'm going to put in a zip code that at one point I used to, like, live at, right? Wait, why is that? Oh, no. All right, we'll go with, wait, no, is it? Where the hell was the zip code there? Shit. All right, whatever. All right, let's say you're in Allentown, hypothetically. Okay? You literally put in the zip code. All right? It gives you, like, a link to all the places that are near you. These things are going to be happening. You can see Kutztown, Allentown, Hanover, Easton. Okay, you click on one of these. All right, it gives you like a little RSVP thing that lets you tells you when it's going to happen. So in Allentown, for instance, it's going to be from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can RSVP. It has like a whole sign up thing. And to be clear, what this is they are logging your email address so they can send you more stuff. All right, there's nothing saying you can't just show up. All right, there's nothing saying you can't just show up if you don't want to be getting like endless like amounts of how do you put it, emails and text messages and everything like that. I will admit it's really cringe. It's really annoying. It does work, just do what you will. But as well as all that, right? Even when it comes to these protests, like within themselves, they are occurring throughout the day at different times in different places. So it is probably of benefit that if you want to go to these, you could do maybe even several of them in one day if you wanted. And this is not like, something that's limited to California or places where all this is happening. It is literally the entire, it's just, like, it's blue as far as the eye can see, man. Okay? It's blue as far as the eye can see. They're straight up, okay, bro, they're straight up doing this shit in Puerto Rico. Okay? They're doing this in Puerto Rico. All right? Trump is literally going to try to cut Puerto Rico off from the earth so that he could send it away because he's probably got some problems with it to begin with. It's actually crazy. Will there be snacks? You'd have to consult with your local organizer for that. But I do think it's like actually fun. I do think that it's actually probably a good thing to do. Because at the end of the day, man, like at this point, probably should be something done, right? Okay, there's probably should be something done. In fact, okay, we could try other, zip codes and everything like that, such as Panorama City, California, in Los Angeles, where it shows you all the places you can go. But if you want to go ahead and check it out, it's at nokings.org, nokings.org, ! map, if you want to go ahead and attend these on your own. Again, when it comes to what all of this is, all right, we can see the organization No Kings, what they do, and at the end of it, for me, I have I hate how libbed up it's going to be, because I know it's going to be libbed up, and I will live with it being libbed up, all right? I can live with it being libbed up, because you have to do something. But as far as it seems like there is a lot of actual materials, right? Where you can go ahead and get people involved at a local level. And just like those wreckers before, right? Who are complaining about Palestine flags and Mexican flags and everything along those lines. You could actually say, if you go there, you could probably actually just be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this. All right, but still go and just get it done. And if you want somebody to actually specifically, go ahead and respond. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I was reading this shit wrong. But regardless, that's what happens. You get involved. You can advocate for your own positions when you integrate with these different things. This is libbed up as shit. I know. Okay. But you're not going to get me telling you to go riot in the streets and throw bricks, get armed, and all those other things that, the conservatives consistently and often promote as a part of their programs, right? And I would actually say, I think I'm okay with that, It does seem like it is trying to centralize into localities, all right? Because local politics are dreadfully easy to manage. You need a handful of people half the time to win elections. All right? Local elections do not get the voter turnout that national elections do in any way, shape, or form. And along with that, you actually get to be a part of whatever it is. You want to look at the people where that goes ahead and actually, involves themselves. You look at somebody like AOC, who was a bartender, started getting involved in Bernie's 2016, initiatives to empower local leaders and create local candidates, right? And now look at what she's doing. That's what it is. Get involved. It's important, right? It's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly important. Especially now that even today, even yesterday, or was it today? Even today, all right, there is even assaults being taken on the online spaces that we're in, okay? Because for some reason, Hassan got his global entry revoked by the Department of Homeland Security. Twitch streamer Hassan Abi Piker stated that the Department of Homeland Security has revoked his global entry. For those unfamiliar, global entry is part of a U.S. Customs and Border Enforcement trusted travel program. It enables low-risk travelers to receive expedited clearance upon arrival in the country. The membership for this application is valid for 5 years. During a live stream on June 11, 2025, Hassan Abi read details from a letter and of an email he had received, informing him that his global entry membership had been revoked. Disclosing the reason why his membership had been taken away, the Turkish-American personality said, well, let's just look at the clip. I don't really feel like reading that.
It says, "Dear Hassan Piker, thank you for your participation in the Global Entry Program of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Global Entry is a voluntary program available to travelers that pass a comprehensive background investigation. Applicants found to be ineligible for global entry participation may still be permitted to enter into the United States, although they will not be permitted to use the global entry lanes. We regret to inform you that your membership in global entry has been revoked for the following reason, in parentheses S, reasons." There's a big space there. And the only thing that it says is, you do not meet program eligibility requirements.
Now, remember, he did meet program eligibility requirements, and then he didn't meet them. Very curious. Very curious. Hey, Dan. Hey, Dan. Cool with this? Cool with this, Saltman? I can't wait till they do it to you, bud.
This is after they gave it to me. So that's it. Was it revoked before Trump's inauguration? No, after. It says,
yeah, and that's just what it is. At the end of the day, if we're not going to go ahead and stop the buck somewhere, it is going to continue until it is anyone who speaks whatsoever. Okay? And that's where we're at. Right? Pretty fucked. You know? And so, yeah, that is kind of my little spiel on politics for today. And tomorrow, I'm probably going to go ahead and go a little bit over, things you should and shouldn't do at protests. And I may be bringing on some fans of the channel, some friends of the channel to talk about that for the segment tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. We'll be, for that. It'll be pretty cool. This is for the people watching the VODs. Hey.